I feel very sad. We lived in a beautiful Goa. Especially people are born up to the 75. I always say maybe born up to the 70s, up to maximum up to the 80s. Have seen a golden Goa. The carnivals was so much beautiful compared to what we see today. The life, the vegetables, the way people interacted. Anybody born after the 80s will not realize the golden Goa that we grew up with.
Welcome to Susegaad Musings, the brand new talk show that's all about the sun-kissed, beautiful state of Goa. Co-hosted by Amit, Chopra and myself, Ryan Lobo, we talk about the real Goa by speaking to people who call Goa their home.
The only people who will able to protect the trees in Goa when the tree is in your own private property.
Yes.
Whatever you do, if it's not in your private property, I'll write it in blood, those trees are going to get cut. And I'm saying, sitting over here, compiled trained trees are in danger.
The second episode of Susegaad Musings features Daniel D'Souza, a passionate landscape designer. He shares how he first fell in love with plants, and today, why he is so passionate about investing in a greener tomorrow. We prefer to have our guest Daniel share about it like only he can. So let's get straight into this episode of Susegaad Musings.
Alright, so thank you so much, Daniel, for coming. You are known as a celebrity landscape designer in Goa, and plants are your breath and your life. So tell us, how did you get into this whole, landscaping? How did you study into it? Were you born in Goa? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, my love for plants began at a very tender age of 4. When I was a young kid, I remember every Sunday, I would pull out a plant and look against the sunlight and see how much the roots grow. And I kept doing it for months together until I killed, I think, maybe more than 100 plants.
Destroyed your garden.
And I think my mom was a very strong backbone. She did not interfere in my thought process because she did not say that this plant is going to die. But I was very headstrong to every week pull out and see the growth of the plant. So that was one of my very initial memories I remember. Then I would water my cactus tree every day, my cactus plant, because I could not believe that a cactus could be watered just once a week. So I would say humans, we required water every day. So I said, how could this tree not require water? So I would water my cactus every day, eventually killing my cactus plant. And the third one, I would take my Christmas tree for a bath every day and put it to sleep. To that extent, I would put soap, put it in a dark corner and cover it with a black bedsheet. And I said, okay, now we're going to bed. Even you go to bed. So I clearly remember these 3 plants. It was my checking the root growth of this tree, my watering my cactus, and taking my Christmas tree for a bath along with me.
So basically, you were,
I was
probably trees were attracting you even at that age.
And Mom, treating trees like people.
Yeah, and treating trees like people. And Mom wanted me to become a dentist. And I said, I'm not going to put my fingers in people's mouth. And my dad wanted me to become a civil engineer. Forcefully got my admission into Father Agnel's in Verna. But I bunked for 1 month. And then a guilty conscience called up my dad and said, no, I don't want to build buildings that don't grow. And I decided to choose or chalk out my own pathway, my passion for plants.
So what did you do?
I did I did BSc from the Bombay University, and I also did my masters from the botany and horticulture from the Bombay University.
In botany and horticulture?
Yeah, because Goa University, I always say, for a simple reason, I keep telling when I get on a particular forum, doing plain botany in Goa is useless. Because plain botany does not have any scope. It has to be botany, horticulture and landscaping. I keep telling the people who are in power, please do something, because so many youth who do botany can't do anything further. But nobody seems to listen.
What do you mean? Can you explain?
See, when you just do botany, nobody is going to call you to identify some plants. In Bombay University, it is botany, horticulture and landscaping. So they teach you how to design gardens.
Oh, superb. So you learned...
I did my first year...
You formally learned designing of an landscaping?
In Bombay University. So I did my first year at Dempe College, and then from my SY onwards, I was at the Bombay University.
Superb. This is So, Danny, just tell us about your childhood. What do you remember about Goa of that time?
We lived I feel very sad, we lived in a beautiful Goa, especially people who are born up to the 75, I always say, maybe born up to the 70s, up to maximum up to the 80s, has seen a golden Goa. The carnivals was so much beautiful compared to what we see today. The life, the vegetables, the way people interacted. Anybody born after the 80s will not realize the golden Goa that we grew up with.
I tend to agree with you because I was born here. So I have vivid memories of Goa, especially Kandoli, Santa Cruz, this side. We lived in Santa Cruz. My mother's family had a house in Kandoli side. So I remember Kandoli of that time. One single road, hardly a vehicle in half an hour passing by. People waiting for the bus. One house here, then the Sikera's house there, Albuquerque's and Britt's house there. There's 4 or 5 houses there. Between the beach and us, just walk straight down. There was nothing. One place in Kandoli, shack, and one in Kalangut. I think it was Siomar or some name it was called. I can't recollect. I was hardly 5 years when I left Goa. So, Goa of you, what you recollect?
Yeah, tell us
I want to know of your memories.
I
of
remember
Goa.
these beautiful old buses, bullock carts, people shouting out like meat, meat, meat. You know, it was the total. Then maybe on a Sunday, and I remember when we were growing up, like any festival, we would cut chicken. There was beef. I mean, it was a very big thing. But today, the lifestyle is like there's nothing exotic. It's like everything is like every day. But
I think there was a lot of community during those days.
I mean, you know, the village, they would cut and celebrate and all. But today, even in food habits, there's nothing exotic left. Because whatever you would eat on a feast day, you're eating it every day.
Every day. Yeah.
I mean, what is, now the only thing that you probably would come is a cousin is coming from abroad, getting you a turkey, a pre-cooked turkey. I think that's the only thing left. But I think in terms of food, we have lost out on everything.
I don't know if we've lost out or if we've just come to a financial level where we can afford those feast foods every day.
Yeah, maybe I think that's the better way of saying. I think that we can afford it on day-to-day basis.
But in those days, I don't think people could do that.
With kids, we would look forward to, like, you know, chicken or whatever, like meats and exotic meats and all.
We have
But
made
today-
it so. This is an aspect which Ryan, I have not thought of. We made these things so available that I remember Sunday घर पे ये बनेगा. So
Yes.
we used to look forward. On Sunday there will be a special meal cooked. So these things used to be there in our childhood.
I remember
probably
when,
this is growth.
When we were growing up, like Sunday, mom would cook. We would have fried chicken or maybe chicken with a beautiful fried rice, and you know, but I don't see this any longer
Those was
in the
joys for
you
us,
kids.
which I don't think the generation now would realize. So, like I have seen, you know, we never used to ask for gifts. Nowadays, kids demand things.
Yeah.
So things have changed. Probably prosperity has brought in some things that have stolen away little joys from us. Small joys, you know, of getting things, of doing something special in food, in clothes. Those small joys are gone, replaced by normal joys, which we fail to appreciate. I think when we get too much of something, appreciation of that thing goes out.
Yeah.
The lack of it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Probably that has become it's been a bane of prosperity. We have prospered as people, but along with prosperity has come a lot of
You lose the simple things.
Simple things in life. We lost them. Simple joys of playing hide and seek.
Yeah.
Nowadays people what are children playing? Video games mostly. Hardly they play outdoor, and little bit the outdoor games they play are very limited. The time we used to spend just walking, looking at, you know, trees, looking
Today
at
there's
birds.
no conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
very less.
I always say, today there's no conversation, absolutely. Because every child has a phone in the hand and they're conversing with the phone.
And the innocence of childhood is lost.
And I always tell my son, I always hear him giggle. Either he's giggling at the television or he's giggling into his phone. And I have a major concern at home.
So this is a
So I
concern
said, you know,
that
there
I
are
see
human
every
beings
day.
living in this house and we would also like to giggle. So the only time when I catch my children is because my wife is very particular. Meals is a family thing that all 4 of us sit together and we spend around half an hour. So that's the only thing that she has put her foot down. She said, nothing doing. dinner and lunch, all of us are having together. So that's the time we managed to catch.
That's a very good thing.
Yeah,
to
so
do.
that's the time we managed to catch the 2 kids on the table with us.
I'll ask you, Daniel, one thing. Schooling. Where did you study? You said.
I studied at Don Bosco.
Oh.
My pre-schooling was in People's High School. And my 11-12 was in Father Agnail's ashram, Father Agnail's Pilar. And then my first year was in Dempe College. And then it was in Bombay University.
Superb. So, with a guy who has learned landscaping and this, what change in has landscaping, planting become more important, or was it important earlier? We lost it and then we are trying to regain it.
To be honest with you, I think it's see, what is good, I say is good. What is bad, I say is bad. Believe me or not, we were not known as landscape designers because of the influx of people coming from rest part of the countries. Those so-called people who come from Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, we have got elevated. Otherwise, we were known as Malis or we were known as gardeners. People never knew. See, there are pros and cons to everything. People say, oh, Delhi wala, Pune wala, ye wala. But in my profession, in Goa, we were not known as landscape designers. So the good thing is because of the influx, people coming from rest of the country to Goa, we have been known as landscape designers.
So basically, some good has done.
Yes.
Come out of
see,
it.
I'm honest. What is good is good. What is good is good. What is bad is bad. So initially, we were not known as landscape designers. But in the last 10 years, we as landscape designers have got our due credit as designers. But initially, 10 years back, 12 years, we were more like just like gardeners or maybe more qualified gardeners compared to the rest.
Nursery
Daniel, I was
owner or
just
something.
speaking with him, in our younger days, like all our grandparents loved plants, like our grandmothers, for example. And I think gardening in Goa was a very normal thing.
It
and
was a
every
status
family
symbol.
did. Yeah.
It was a huge status symbol that they would have a very beautiful garden. It was a status symbol. But today, what I see is people have lost because people are moving. A lot of these beautiful old Portuguese houses are falling down apart for whatever the reasons, which I don't want to get into. So the lack of space, people moving into smaller houses, into apartments. But very few people take pride in their ancestry or in the architecture or into the way or the family surname.
I agree. People have probably for various reasons become nuclear families have turned out. That has led to, lack
Moving
of
to
manpower.
apartments.
People don't have that much free time with them. So they tend to, find places where less maintenance will be done. That becomes less costs are imposed upon them. Probably that has all led to this. Daniel, with the change happening over the time in Goa, do you think landscaping has become an important aspect?
Yeah, I think landscaping has become very important, lesser because of the tree cover.
Okay.
Because you see, there was a fruit called jambul.
Yeah.
Yes, Jambul. I remember.
Today,
hearing.
the cost of per jambul is between 2 to 3 rupees per jambul.
Yes.
Per
Per,
fruit.
fruit.
My gosh.
There was
It is-
another fruit called Adam's fruit.
Yeah,
Adam's fruit.
Yeah.
Which is, as children, we used to eat so many, which is on the verge of extinction. There's another fruit called jogama, which you don't see at all. As children, we used to take this fruit and within your 2 palms of your hand, you would roll it and then you would eat this fruit. You don't see it along. Churnas, a small white
Yeah,
berries.
small. I know
Churnas up to last year, used to get it for 20 rupees. This year, starting price is 50 rupees for a small stainless steel container.
Oh, wow.
Because private
Karna,
forest...
Chunnas, we just
Yeah.
used to pick and have.
Private forests have all been converted. Buildings are going all over the place. Sad to say, even I've gone to Morjim, buildings have come up right on the top of the hills. So where are you going to get it? Chunna, Zamgas. So where is the childhood gone? We have lost. I feel very disturbed. The rate Goa is going, I feel very disturbed.
You're right. We have to find a right balance between nature and development. Sadly, unplanned development, just for sake of construction happening, any ugly things coming up. We have seen people destroying tree covers, because they want to build a complete grown trees are cut down. Today also we keep on seeing that this thing, probably it is lack of awareness or what, people don't realize that a beautiful tree takes years to cultivate. And when you meet people, my thing is, do you find any change in the mindset that yes, people want to preserve the trees and have the houses around?
No, it's
or
just-
there's
no,
still
no,
that
it's-
same
it's just a
raise
handful
all
of
the trees down and just have
It's
a
just
house?
a handful of people.
And is it more, what is the change that has come out? Has any inkling towards conserving trees come in? Have you seen any change towards it?
No,
Or
I'm
is
not,
it
no.
still that, yeah, remove these trees from my place and just build anything I want?
I always say the only people who will able to protect the trees in Goa when the tree is in your own private property.
Yes.
Whatever you do, if it's not in your private property, I'll write it in blood, those trees are going to get cut. And I'm saying, sitting over here, compiled trained trees are in danger. Whatever is going to happen, there was a movement, the compiled trees were saved. Believe me, I'm going to write it in blood, the compiled trained trees are in danger. It's going to go for road widening. It might happen 10 years, 20 years or 15 years from now. But the trees are sure to go. And we are going to face the consequences. So what I say to everybody, what is within your compound, please look after because you have a right. Anything which is outside your compound is doomsday in Goa. I'm going to write it in blood.
This is a sad part, aren't it?
It's extremely sad.
See, even in of course, development is required, everything is fine. But when we see these beautiful trees being chopped down without any attempt of even replanting them, I think.
So are you going to wait for 100 years? I don't want to get back into it. Recently, a tree which was 100 years went down. I did not sleep whole night. They're saying, okay, for one tree, you're going to plant 15 trees. Fantastic. Plant 20 trees. But are you going to wait for another 100 years to get that look and feel?
Why do you think people don't even find the need to replant them or try to...
See, certain trees can't be replanted. Like, for example, a tree which was recently hacked in Panjim, over 100 years, you can't replace it. You have to apply your mind how you're going to do the road. And it's not that you have just decided to do the road instantly. But what is disturbing when you call a project smart and you're not acting smart, you're acting dumb, how do you call it a smart project?
I understand where you're
It
coming
hurts
from.
us very badly
I understand
to
where
see
you're
the
coming
tree cover. Nobody's realizing what the heat in Panjim is going to be in few years from now.
Yeah.
2 years back or whatever, we had the Taute, or maybe last year. The tree cover that Panjim lost is tremendous. Imagine-
I know the number of trees that fell.
Panjim, the
broke.
amount of trees that went with Taute in Panjim and all over Goa is
Aren't it also because
It's
that
mind-boggling.
we don't do timely pruning of trees?
obviously. I mean, I know of a certain place in Bombay where it's an area because it same way like a smart city project was happening. Because of the heritage street, that street was neglected, was kept out. Beautiful. Sometimes we talk about Bombay, but go to Bandra, see the amount of tree cover, beautiful. When I go to Bombay, I live on Turner Road, is amazing. The amount of parrots, the mynas, the birds, the bulbuls. Sometimes you think, when you stay in Bandra on Turner Road, you think, are you in Goa or you're in Bombay? You'll have sometimes more tree species in Bombay than what you have in Goa. And that's what is disturbing.
So we have to also maintain the biodiversity of our local flora and fauna.
Biodiversity, everything is fine, but it's only on paper. Nothing is happening
What
at
I'm
ground
saying
level.
is, isn't it important to maintain it?
It's very important, but there is nobody's giving it.
What we are talking about is sometimes you take out your native flora and you introduce foreign species.
Correct.
And that causes a trouble as well.
Yeah,
Even though
obviously.
you're planting a tree,
because
but
if
you're planting a
native
alien
species,
tree.
then what happens to your butterflies? What happens to your bees? What happens to your? It's just see, it's an ecosystem. You can't fool around. You can't change your ecosystem.
I've seen issue with poor environment planning. Good intentions. We see I don't know which department does it. Mangroves,
Yes.
preservation of mangroves. Huge number of seeding goes on. Mangroves, which were not there earlier, invasive species have been brought in, which have taken over grasslands.
Non-native
There was a
species.
Non-native species, and today you see Diwar Island, Sharao, the complete where there were grasslands, native trees and other things, that cover is gone. There are invasive species of mangroves which are full of bats.
Yes.
The birds are gone from there. There are literally no birds there. Sharao, which was a bird sanctuary, is now a bat sanctuary. I'm not joking. Go and have a look.
Yeah.
Diwar, where there were huge grasslands, are covered with mangroves now because cutting of mangroves is banned. So you have to find a fine line between preserving environment and destroying it. You know, mangroves, invasive species of mangroves in the earlier times. I remember, traditional people just before monsoon or after monsoon, clearing of broken things, cutting, pruning, everything used to happen. Trees used to be pruned. So they never used to fall in the rains.
See, when we were
in
children,
storms.
you remember, we used to prepare for the monsoons. Our
Yes.
grandparents, in the month of April, would have provisions for the 4 months of monsoons.
Yes.
Today, which house has provisions?
Nobody
no house.
does.
We have
Nobody
lost it.
In terms of food, you mean?
In terms of
Yes.
food.
So
like
that
4
festival
months,
that comes,
yes, in
we used to
Beijing,
buy, the
chilies and so many other things, dry fish and
I
everything.
remember.
But today, which house?
I remember coming with, and seeing all that, but that is lost.
It's lost.
True. It's
It
true.
was so much of I think a Goan fiber
Yes.
that people would prepare for the next month, because today everything you get.
True. That's quite true. Daniel, just wanted to ask, when you do landscaping, what do you look at?
See,
You look at the person's choices.
the first thing when I do landscaping is I try to see how many trees I can throw into, because I know as a fact, because I work for the government. So the first thing I see, how many tree species I can protect within a person's compound in a private property.
Okay.
So I don't look at the soft landscaping. I don't look at the aesthetics. My first priority is, because I know it's a private land, that the person will able to protect the trees. Because anything as I said before, anything outside your compound, we have absolutely no right. Someday it is going to go. Or road widening, cable, something or other. So my first thing is the number of tree species that will allow me to be safeguard within the property. Soft landscaping, aesthetics come second.
Okay.
Then when I choose my tree species, I do a balance between a forest species as well as trees that will attract bird, butterflies, squirrels, bulbuls. So if suppose I want bulbuls and all, I will put a lot of mulberry trees. Suppose I'm looking after quails and all, I'll put pepper. Suppose I'm looking at butterflies, I'll use a lot of lantana species.
Okay.
So actually what happened, it's an inner calling.
Yes.
And all
Yes,
of
it is.
us don't have this inner calling.
Absolutely.
Now, we as landscape designers, when we design gardens, we land up with, on a big site, we land up with 30 to 40 or 50,000 plastic bags. I always appeal to each and every landscape designer, don't cut the bag, recycle the bag. But you know what happens when we recycle the bag? It takes time, because we have to loosen up the soil, pull out the plastic bag. So what most of the landscape designers do, they take a blade, cut the bag, and when everybody goes home, we'll throw it into the neighbor's property. Now these plastic bag will be in the ground for the next 30 to 40 years.
Absolutely.
So educated people, when we have a little pause in our hand, it is us who we have to preserve.
Yes. I have seen something that he did. You created in your house, I remember that
Yes.
beautiful
Bog.
garden and this
Yeah.
thing, and you had created a bog there.
Yes.
So that bog, he created a beautiful bog.
I created a water body without using one drop of cement, because I don't believe using cement, because Mother Nature has been already choked to the maximum capacity. So you can do water bodies at your garden by using ordinary Ganpati chikkad matti. Collecting old plastic bags from the site, because when the site is ready, to protect the flooring, they use a lot of plastic. So like a beggar, I used to collect this plastic for months together, and I did a beautiful water body at home without using a drop of cement.
So
It's all in your mind. It's a conscious effort that each one of us has to do. It's basically a calling.
And you'll say, what is a bog? A bog is basically a muddy water body, which a lot of nature takes over after that. So it recreates a lot of, species, small species like squirrels, tadpoles and this thing can live in that. It also helps in I think
Collecting all the water,
rainwater.
channelizing all the rainwater into one
I heard
place.
you have like a stream going through your property.
Yeah.
Wow. And a natural
I've been
stream.
talking about, raving about your property to whoever I meet. And I keep
Thank
on
you, sir.
telling, I don't tell them everything
Yeah.
because I know that you don't, you
It's
won't
only
like-
by invitation
Yes.
because we had a theft in the nursery, very sad. So we had to shut down the nursery.
Oh.
So it's only now by invites because it was sad. Yeah.
So what I keep on telling people is there is a person, his house is so beautiful, he preserved the place. Sorry.
See, for me, one as a hardcore Goan, after the theft, me and my wife took a very conscious effect. If we are going to build high compound walls, number one. Second, we are going to put CCTV cameras all over our property. And third, put men in uniform. So what differentiates us from being true blooded Goans is when we had a theft in our nursery in Asagaon, I was heartbroken. But me and my wife took a very conscious decision. We are not going to increase the height of our compounds.
Okay.
No CCTV cameras here and there. And the third, we did not want men in uniform.
Perfect.
If we feel that we are Goans, we should live the way we lived. Now, if we had one theft, it's not that we press the panic button, build high compound walls, put CCTV cameras, and have watchmen with these guards. So, it was better for us to shut down the nursery and say, we don't want people coming, but we'll keep it open for people who are genuinely interested in plants.
He's turned it into such a haven.
Yeah.
There are birds there, you can see
I
butterflies.
have 30 species of birds. Last 4 or 5 days back, I put a post on Facebook. In 30 meters, I was sitting in front of a hornbill.
Wow.
30 meters. Where on earth can you get to sit in 30 meters radius a hornbill at 6 o'clock in the morning?
It's such a beautiful haven of greenery that you go there, you go, oh wow.
Amit, one more thing. If you have seen my office, on deliberation, I have not taken a single electrical connection in my office. Because birds fly in and out through my office and they'll get hit by the fan.
Yes, yes.
Wow. You're one
So-
with nature, truly.
Yes, because I'll put a fan for my comfort, but the birds would not know what is a fan.
Yes.
I would have
understand.
death on my table. So when I design my gardens, there are birds who are flying over my head.
So,
It's a
this is-
paradise flycatcher, it's a racky-tailed drongo, it could be n number of birds.
Nowadays,
so I'm in sync with Mother Nature.
There are certain things that you can put which do not require these blades and things, and there is air circulation with that. But these are now new things that have come in. Earlier we had just fans. So this is great that you thought of that.
Yeah, because I did not have blood on my table.
Understood. That is so kind of you that you gave that much thought to it. But seriously, one should visit his place. Only then they come to know what beautiful.
Let's
house
not
he's
make
got.
his place too famous, otherwise you'll have too many requests for people.
That's
to
why
visit.
that's why I'm not even telling where it is. I've not even spoke about it because I want it to remain a haven for both nature and his family as well.
yeah.
Because I understand what he wants to preserve is not just for his. It is for his children also, not for
Absolutely.
himself. The children also growing up in such a place, it becomes a very different environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it changes a lot of things, and I was inspired by him. So I've been telling people, you should do this, do that. When we are working commercially, it becomes very difficult for us. People throw out your ideas very easily. It doesn't make commercial sense at times. But
On several projects also, I walked out of projects, Amit.
Superb.
People think, you have got the money power that, you can, throw your weight around.
Yes, yes.
And that's the last thing on the plate. I rather will do less projects which are more environmental friendly
Superb.
and tell people, don't use cement, use kadapa, use stone, recharge the groundwater. Everybody designs gardens and pushes off the water to the road.
I understand what you're saying. So when you start telling people this, it becomes very difficult for you to have a lot of work. But as he said, it is better to have less and have peace of mind rather seeing things being totally destroyed. I have commercial projects which I work on. I do sales, I do marketing, but I try to educate people to preserve trees. I tell them, don't cut down everything you see. Preserve the trees. यार बहुत साल लगते हैं इसको बनने में. Try to protect it. The place I stay in, Mill Rock, the best part of it is that there are a huge number of old trees that were protected. So we still have sparrows in our colony.
Oh,
Which are
sparrows
almost
have become
almost-
so rare.
Yeah,
It's
because,
so rare
yeah,
now.
whatever the
And you
reason.
know, there is two sparrows that keep on building a nest in my AC. There's a place where they build it. I don't remove them. I let them be. Doesn't matter.
You know why sparrows are on a decline?
No, please tell us.
Sparrows are on decline because in Goa, sparrows were on decline because initially they were all small houses. The place where I grew up in Karanjale,
The nesting
yeah,
used to be
in all houses, like over the window sills and all. So all these houses have fallen apart. So where do the sparrows
they nest?
Where do they nest?
Like I
So that
remember
is one of
growing
the
up,
one- yeah.
growing up in Bombay also when I was like 10 years old. I'd see so many sparrows on the streets
Those are-
flying around. But
You
now
know
in
what they are
Bombay you
called?
barely
They're
see
called-
any.
They're called house sparrows. They're not outside sparrows. They're
Yes,
house sparrows.
house sparrows,
They
right.
require that because they have got habituated of building nests in that manner. They require us to support them in a little way, but we don't because birds, dirty things. Of course, I'm not a big fan of pigeons.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I see people feeding pigeons on that.
Yeah, they're the highest carriers of infections.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, pigeons are the highest carriers of
But
infections.
the other birds are so required. The chirping of birds is music here.
True.
You're sitting in the morning, early morning, sing. I don't know bird names that well. My wife, of course, she can name. I don't know dozens of them. But you see a yellow one. You see a different types of kingfishers. You see, that
The yellow
dragon,
one is the golden
golden
oriole
oriole
with the
Golden oriole.
orange beak.
Golden oriole.
Beautiful bird, yellow and
then,
black.
And then there is that, Drango.
Racket-tailed Drango.
Yeah,
Long tail. Yeah.
Then I have seen birds of paradise come sometimes. And then I had another flat of my brother-in-law in Millrock Woods. Behind was this thing. There used to be a bird of paradise there only.
Yeah.
So sitting there. So sometimes people tell why, trees are that, we can plant any tree. I tell them, first to grow it takes so many years. Recently, one of my clients, I sold him a piece of land, and I like to interfere in design and things. I like to tell people about design. So I gave them some ideas. They did a very beautiful design and came back to me. That architect showed me it was a beautifully done design. Beautiful means it will be a very beautifully done design. I told him this design won't work. So why? I said, I had told you, don't touch this tree. And your design is going to destroy this tree. No. I said, see, the placement is wrong. Then I showed the architect agreed. They redid the design to preserve that it's at, a banyan tree which will be at least 300 years old.
Wow.
And I ensured, except for some branches that were coming this side, we literally got them to, the way the house is designed,
the house.
is going to protect the whole tree in itself. The tree has become the prominent feature of the house. They have not built it yet. They've just redesigned it completely. But the full redesigning took months. It took months and still is going on. Because of that, they have lost a lot of time, but at least they listened.
Yeah.
And
You know,
that
one
tree
of-
was this thing saved.
Right.
Otherwise, I've seen people just go and literally chop down trees. That is it took years to build here. Why do you want to destroy it?
Yeah.
That is a thing that nature has given you, blessed you with. Use it for your design.
Yeah. Amit, I want to add to your story. I went to a site recently of one of my clients and they built a resort there. But they were very specific. They did not want to cut the trees. So they actually worked very hard on finding a pool designer who could design the pool around the trees, And that was very hard. But they were so committed that they actually did that. And then now the pool looks
Vagator?
so special. Yes.
Vagator.
Anjuna. Anjuna somewhere.
Ashwin's.
Correct.
Ritu Kumar's son.
Oh,
I'm not sure
Vagator.
with that
That's
exactly.
yes, it's,
but now the
superb.
pool looks, pools are normally square, but now it has a shape and it's so beautifully preserved,
That's my work.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. It's facing the Chopra jetty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Superb.
There's another project in Anjuna. I think you and I are talking about different projects. But I'm so
Even
happy
Ashwin's property,
that...
Ritu Kumar's son, beautiful property. The whole swimming pool is designed around it. Even there's another house in Asagaon, Malavika Tiwari's house. banyan tree is given. So like that we get request.
No, see, there are a lot of people who have become conscious of what things
Yeah.
are. Of course, this costs a little money. It does cost a little money. So not everybody can afford it. When we
Correct.
are doing a mass housing, what happens is mass housing is done differently. Earlier there used to be standalone buildings, small plots. It becomes very difficult to do that. People nowadays oppose larger projects. Rather, I would say larger projects are more protective of environment than smaller ones. I'll tell you why. Mill Rock was done on 40,000 square meters, the Mill Rock that I stay on. But because it was such a this thing, they were able to spread out the buildings and preserve a lot of trees. Till date, there were no parkings except few garages given there. But till date, there is such openness that our cars are parked properly. We could manage it. Lot of things we took care of. The buildings are getting looked after now, after years. Of course, but that was an amazing thing. Anybody trying to protect trees and get it into the landscape, something which
Yeah.
I believe in.
There's magic in the property.
Probably,
Yeah.
if you do a larger project, you can design your project around the trees rather than you see sometimes ugly things going on. Person has taken a plot, he's going to build probably 25,000 square meters. What is the ground coverage? 40% maximum. Boss, there is enough place to play around. You don't have to chop the whole bloody thing down and clean it up. Turn it into a red, ugly mass. I keep on telling people, don't do this. But unfortunately, very few listen. But the ones who listen create magic.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
You know,
They create
I
magic.
love places in Panjim like Kampal, the rain trees, and Altino.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place it is. Fully treed. I mean,
There have
full
been,
covered.
I'll tell you one thing. There have been mistakes also. The rain trees that are put have grown to gigantic proportions. Rain trees grow. But it was very important when they were growing earlier if they would have properly pruned. Because what has happened, they're becoming too top heavy. Any big storm, we see trees falling. Any big this thing, trees are dying. So, preservation and conservation of trees also require people like Daniel who understand. That people don't understand. Just planting a tree doesn't mean that you've done something for the environment. What kind of trees you have to plant, where you have to plant them, natural species, the
Example,
local
one tree
flora
I
and
always
fauna.
tell public is gul mohar tree. Never plant gul mohar tree side of the road because gul mohar tree does not have a taproot system. Come what may, it falls down. The gul mohar tree.
So it spreads sideways.
Yeah, because it doesn't have a taproot system.
Right.
So it's not fit as an avenue tree. For parks and gardens is okay.
Oh, this is a
It's a
very
it's a
good
proper
point that
fact,
you've.
Yes. See all the gul mohar trees in Panjim. You'll see beautiful trees in Panjim city. And after a few years, you see the tree is gone.
Yes.
Because it does not have a taproot system.
So the roots
It-
cannot spread
yeah,
because of concrete.
yeah. And then the
this
concrete,
thing, and
the
then-
concrete roads, people are doing pathways because it's spreading its roots on the top surface. And here we are not having top surface because of the roads are getting broadened, pathways are coming. So you're cutting the. So all the finally, if you go to see Panjim, I don't think there's a single gulmohar tree standing.
Oh,
Have a look at
I never realized this. So this is a good
I
point
think
that
the
you've told
last
us.
gulmohar tree which went down was next to health services.
Okay.
Beautiful one.
Okay, I had no idea. So this is what we gain with these talk shows.
See, because you know what happens, people, when they are planting trees, they don't choose the right type of tree.
Yes,
Like an innocent sapling becomes a giant of a forest in 10 years.
Yes.
So the wrong people get the job and the wrong people are choosing the trees.
Yes.
So could you give a recommendation for a certain scenario? What are the type of trees?
See, like Spathodia, Millingtonia, Acacia biflora, these are like trees which have a taproot system.
These are
so
these
they
are
should be, those are the
complicated
trees.
names. What are they known in common parlance?
Spathodia would be called as an Indian tulip tree. Beautiful
Okay.
scarlet flowers.
Okay.
Millingtonia is like an Indian cock tree. Like the bark is like very like a cock
Porous,
effect. Then you have the Acacia biflora, which like bunches of grapes coming down.
Oh.
So those are the trees which and actually it enhances the streetscape and enhances the entire city. So when you look at the biodiversity or when you're going for grading of the city has to be graded, the tree cover is important.
It is. It is.
It's just not that see it creates it's like an entire portrait. You have the heritage buildings, you have heritage structures, you have the tree cover, you have the avian friends, you have your butterflies, you have the bees. So on the whole, you have to look at the subject.
Superb to know that.
So it's a street, it's just not an independent house. I would say the entire streetscape. When I used to plant trees, I would see which time of the year the tree would flower and the color of the flower of the tree and what are the color of the buildings surrounding.
Oh, really? Wow.
So you take it one step, it's like a surgery. So it has to complement the flower tree, has to complement what is the surrounding of the building colors around, because buildings in Panjim don't change very fast, the colors.
Of course.
So when you're getting a chance to plant a tree, make sure what time of the year it flowers.
Understood.
Daniel, you were talking about how the climate is changing, the fruiting season of plants are changing. Can you talk more about that? What's happening?
What I realized in my last few years of observation, trees which flower, like your example, the silk cotton tree, which flowers in the month of hotter months, is flowering in the cooler months. So what is disturbing is that the trees themselves are getting disoriented. They don't know to flower, they don't know either to fruit or what to do.
Really?
So forget human beings, even the trees.
Weather change is affecting a lot of things
Yes.
of this sort. Yes.
The silk cotton tree, which does not flower now. In Mapsa, there is a Gul Mohor next to Karwala petrol pump. Your Gul Mohor is supposed to be flowering in the month of March, April, May. In January, you're seeing the Gul Mohor. So it's a clear indication that Mother Nature is totally disturbed. Trees which should flower at those times of the years, summer flowering trees, are flowering into winter.
So El Nino
It's
effect.
clear evidence.
Yes, I don't know. You noticed this or not? Recently, December has been more hotter than the normal this thing. This year, for the first time, we have had a very, very hot March. March temperatures in Panjim were 38, 39 in Panjim. Elsewhere, the temperature was 36, 37. One day, we had 38 degrees
Yes.
all over Goa.
Yes.
Panjim was showing 41 degrees in my car, this thing. Outside temperature 41. It was a hellhole. It was so hot, it was becoming difficult to breathe. With our high humidity levels, these temperatures have never been seen in Goa.
Never.
Why
and
it
it's,
is-
and it's going to get worse.
And why it is, of course it is because of our planting, less plantation, deforestation, but it's a bigger menace than that. The weather overall has changed. The patterns are disturbed. We may be green, but the other places are not that. So it is disturbing weather patterns. Hot winds are coming in. I think planting trees, environment friendly trees that naturally take care of birds, cool down things. If you do that, I think it is very much required in today's this thing. And I think Daniel, people like you can play a big role in educating people.
But people like us are shunned away. To be honest, I don't know what to say. But I think in our limits, whenever we get a chance, when we do landscaping, I think in whatever limits your conscience permits you to plant, you are planted because most of the times the right person is not given the job. So I think whenever you are given a chance and you have control over something, keep it.
Absolutely. So this is what I have also come to realize. And as we were talking earlier, when I was talking with Bharat, when we met down before the shoot. So I was telling him that when I get a chance, I've come to understood that until I have controlled the project,
Exactly.
or I have absolute dominion over it, is only when I will be able to implement the ideas of green building, of nature, of landscaping, of trees, which unfortunately when you try telling others, now it comes out, what the hell is this guy talking? You know what the expenses are going to be. Actually, it is not much. And it actually reduces cost in the long run. The initial part, the cost might go by 5-10% by all these things that you add up. But as Bharat was saying, with the construction, you may actually save money. You may spend that extra money in these things and come out at almost the same cost on maybe 5% extra. But in the long term, you will save at least 15-20% on your maintenance, on your bills and your utility bills and everything if you plan smart.
Do I agree with you, sir?
Daniel, I'm curious to know, when people think of growing plants, they only think of fruit-bearing trees, So what would you like to say about that? Like they only think of coconuts or mangoes.
See, what I feel now as a landscape designer, there are 3-4 things which trouble me a lot. The first thing, we have to grow a lot of trees to look after the bees.
Absolutely.
The bee population is going down, and if there are no bees, there's no pollination. There's no pollination, there's not going to be food. A day is going to come where everybody is going to starve. So we have to plant trees for the bees, because right now who's doing all the hard work are the bees. And the bees are totally neglected.
So which trees?
Any fruit bearing trees, the honey you get, if you get the honey in the month of May, April, it is jamun honey, because that's the time, cashew, jamun, mango. So plant lot of trees where pollination happen, because bees are playing a very, very important role in the ecosystem. Secondly, to all landscape designers across the world and in India, recharge your groundwater source is very critical. Don't allow your your precious water that we are getting to run off as rainwater and to go into the sea. Recharge it at source. Third is use less plastic. Carry away your plastic. Inform all your gardeners, all your malis, big sites, legs of plastic, legs of people are planting trees, but recycle, because on the quiet somebody is going to go and set a fire or just going to dig a pit and put it into the ground. Again, we are recharging, we are poisoning Mother Nature. And fourth thing is use less of chemicals. These are my four things which across a message should go far and wide.
Superb.
Do these four things, and at our level, we'll able to protect Mother Nature, and Mother Nature, in her own way, is going to protect us back again.
That's a good way to put it. It's a superb way to put it, rather. Tell me one thing, Daniel. Have you come across, people who now, especially developers, I'm talking in the context of developers, who now find that landscaping is an important part?
Yes. Like of recent, in the last 2 years, I get very specific clients who know my passion for plants.
Superb.
So they treat me totally differently. So
Superb.
when they are designing, they call me right in the initial stage. The moment they've bought the house, they call me. I won't disclose the name, but there is a celebrity person in Goa who lives in Goa who's doing a beautiful house in Nashnola, right on the top. They've started the construction and they've given me X amount to already go and plant trees.
That is a beautiful thing.
So it's a beautiful thing, people. And honestly, I'm in no red race, Amit. Believe me, let me tell you, I don't give quotations because I think I've passed the days of quotations, and I don't give plans. So today, people who come to me say, we want a Daniel D'Souza garden. So I do less work, and I prefer doing work with like-minded people.
Superb. My question is, so there are people.
There are people, and it's only going to get better.
Superb.
Because there are people who come to say...
So there is still hope, at least.
There is a lot of scope.
In this aspect of it, at least some hope is there that people are turning towards nature.
Yeah, so
understanding the importance of
understanding the
landscaping,
importance, yes.
the gardening, of having trees. If this kind of people are the kind of developments...
Believe me that this project, what I'm talking in Nashnola, is going to come after 2.5 years up.
Superb.
And right now, they've already dug the pits, 20 pits, and they said we want to put 20 forest species.
Superb.
Because they've already cut down a few trees for the building and all that stuff. So there are people, and I like working with such architects and such like-minded people.
Superb. Yeah. This is good to hear. It's very good to hear. I'll of course talk about it offline with you more. But Daniel, I think it's been very educative talking with you, having all this talk. Thanks is what I can say.
The pleasure is mine. Anything to protect Mother Nature.
No, we seriously, this show.
I would just like to, before I end my talk, and I talk it very openly, I'm a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And I'm not ashamed to say, because people, when they say the moment you have cancer, everybody goes into a shell.
Oh no.
Let me tell you, when I was detected with cancer during the Janta lockdown, I was diagnosed in stage 2 and stage 3 of cancer. And I could not be treated in Goa. I had to fly to Bombay. But I picked up courage and I told the whole world, I'm suffering from cancer. If you all want to come and spend time with me, come and spend time with me. Friends came, we had coffee, we had lunches, we cried, we sang, we did everything together. But in 100%, 50% people told me, Daniel, you are coming back to Goa. And I'm making it a statement here. Because the bees, butterflies and the trees that I've saved during my lifetime are going to storm heaven and tell God, we require you back again in Goa.
That's
And believe me, my cancer, compared to the pictures what I used to see, being educated and having a phone in your hand and access, I used to Google myself, throat cancer, stage 2, stage 3, what's going to happen after 30 chemos, what's going to happen after 10 radiations, I could see. And I'll tell you, by God's grace, I was nowhere close to those pictures. It is because the breeze, birds and butterflies and the trees prayed and stormed heaven for my recovery.
That's a good way of thanking
So if
nature
you
also.
take care of Mother Nature will take care of you when you are in distress.
Yes.
That's
True.
beautiful.
And I was so shocked that 50% people told me, Daniel, you are coming back. And actually, I had almost waved off goodbye to everybody, to my family, friends.
I'm so glad.
Yeah,
that
I
we are
waved off
sitting here
goodbye
and-
because I did not know if I was going to survive my cancer.
I understand the state of mind you went through, but I'm so glad that we are sitting here,
Yes.
able to have
So
this
it is my
conversation
appeal
today.
to all of you all who's watched this channel and watch my show. Plant trees. When you all are in distress, it is like good karma comes back.
Absolutely.
And good karma comes back on this
Absolutely.
earth.
Absolutely.
You say, they say life after that. I don't believe life after that. Live a good life and good life will come back to you.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. And thank you, Daniel, again, is what I would say, because it has been an education talking with you. Just understanding how trees are, how nature has got disturbed, how you think what is important of what kind of trees to be planted. But he had a question about just fruit trees. So are flowering trees more important or fruit trees more important?
A balance.
A
See,
balance has to
a
be
balance is important because when you're talking about mango tree, jamul tree, cashew trees, this will attract bees for pollination. And when you're looking at butterflies, we look at smaller ones, like the more ornamental ones, like your lantanas and all, even wild grasses. I work with wild species because nobody is bothered about them. A day will come that we lose all the indigenous wild grasses of Goa. So I get clients, when I tell them, they say, Daniel, that it's your plot. And each and every garden, I say, is my baby because I'm giving birth.
Oh, it is true.
I'm giving birth. So they say, this is your plot. And when they realize the passion in me, they say, Daniel, this is your baby. Do it the way you want.
So nice to hear that, Daniel. I hope that I have the pleasure of working with you someday.
It will, sir. Good
Definitely.
karma.
Yes. And continue the good work you've been doing. You've been doing amazing work. I've been
Thank you,
following
sir.
you. And the way you have preserved a piece of paradise is what I call it. I admire you for it. And
Thank you, sir.
You are a hero of nature for that. That's why I wanted you on the show. And I had told the moment we started discussing, I said, I want Daniel here. This show is to tell people about Goa. I want to dispel that Bollywood notion of Goa.
Exactly.
And this is what we had discussed. And I said, there is so much in Goa that people don't know about.
Exactly.
And what people lack knowledge, they think Goa is what is shown in Bollywood, a drunkard, a place of sin, of fun, of doing whatever you want. No, Goa is a place where we
Let me just interrupt you, sir. When I started my career, I think around 25 years back, I did a garden for a lady in Porvorim. And after getting to talk to her, I realized she was the PA to Indira Gandhi.
Oh, wow.
And I came back from Bombay University, and then she was very kind to me, like most of the people are. I said, ma'am, tell me something. With BA to Indira Gandhi, you have seen from north of India, from the north to the south of India, to east to west, but why you came to Goa to make your home? There must have been something. If you were the PA to Indira Gandhi, she told me, Daniel, there's no place like Goa.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And that opened my eyes, saying there's no place like Goa. So if all of us apply our mind and can keep Goa the way it was, we are living in paradise.
Absolutely. I also tell people that yes, development is much needed, is required, but if we plan it well and do sustainable development, green development rather, so we will, you have to enrich the place rather than take away from it.
Exactly.
You have to add value. That is what I keep on telling people. And I hope that, people we connect with, we can, at least 5% also what we want is rubbed off on them. we'll make the world a better place.
We'll make Goa a greener place, I guess.
Yes,
I just want to
Goa
second
better
you.
place.
I'm just thinking about the trees at Kampal. You know, the beautiful, large, lush trees with so much shadow. I can't imagine that street without those trees. And I hope that Goa retains its beautiful, lush greenery, its large trees, its canopies. You know, because without that, it's just going to be like any other.
It's going to be like any other metro.
Just, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
We are not even a tier 4 city. Panjim is not even a tier 4 city.
Yeah.
The population of Panjim is just around 2.5 lakh. We don't even come near a metro. But, here lies the but. The cosmopolitan nature of Panjim exceeds that of many metros. The beautiful planned way that Panjim was done was way ahead of its time. It was the first municipality.
Yes.
And of Asia. And this place, if we can preserve it, if people like you can come forth, if people like Ryan can do these kind of shows, I think we'll live in a much better place. On that note, I'll like to end the thing, and Ryan, I'll just...
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. This has been a
Pleasure's been
very
mine.
educational talk, and I hope that more people like you come to Goa and who are raised in Goa who can nurture the greenery around. Thank you so much, Daniel D'Souza. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Susegaad Musings. Stay tuned for the release of the next episode of Susegaad Musings exactly in 1 week. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other podcasting platform. Watch us on our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram and Facebook @Susegaad Musings. Susegaad Musings is brought to you by Amit Chopra and me myself, Ryan Lobo. I will see you in the next episode.